Hello, welcome to Olio, my show. My name is Susan Rushton, and I need, as always, to explain what Olio means. One definition is a short for olla podrida, which is Spanish for rotten bowl, which I just adore. It's essentially a Spanish-Portuguese dish with essentially everything in the world in it. Pork in all its iterations, sausage, pig's feet, bacon, and chicken.
I'm hungry.
Chickpeas and cabbage and carrots, beans, etc., including pig's ears and onions and garlic.
I'm not so hungry.
Essentially, as I said, everything in the world in it except tapioca and white chocolate. That's one definition. Another definition is that olio is what comes in between acts of a melodrama. You might have somebody juggling, you might have somebody singing, you might have somebody doing a skit, and none of it has anything to do with anything else, and certainly none of it has anything to do with the melodrama. So in other words, it's apples, oranges, and a monkey wrench. So welcome to my monkey wrench. The woman you hear laughing is one of my favorite people. This is Mary Jane Popp. Mary Jane, thank you for
my
joining
pleasure.
me.
I love being here with you.
Good.
And I told you can ask anything you want. You know, my life is wide open book.
You
Okay.
betcha. Mary Jane Popp, if you don't know, and I am honored to introduce you to her. She is one of the several KAHI Radio hosts in Auburn, and you can learn more at KAHI.com. FM 104.5 and AM 950, and you can give them a call at 916-929-7962. She has that on her Facebook page, I think, and on your
it's on my card.
In your card,
Sure.
Okay. So her as she says, her life is an open book. Or you can
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah. Or you can contact her, email her at poppoff, POPPOFF @live.com, and we always can hope that it will reach her. I've tried to email her, and she says, sometimes stuff doesn't reach. So this woman has been helping me for years promote Silver Screen at auburnsilverscreen.com, the first Saturday of the month at the Auburn Library. And when I go there to interview, there are always a ton of other people waiting to be interviewed. Several people waiting to be interviewed.
I just love people.
Yes.
That's why.
And that's obvious. And it's also obvious that you are very fond of Auburn.
You bet. It's our community. We have to let people know what's going on.
Yes.
And you do such a great job. I love talking to you about the old movies. It's so fun because we can get into, the emotion of the movies, and instead of, blowing everything up and blood and guts all over the place, we actually get into, you're part of it. You're actually part of that movie.
Yeah.
That's why I love talking with you, because you've got all the great information.
Why?
I want to find the insider stories and stuff.
Yes. And
that's what I try to do on Pop Off, which is my show,
yes.
which airs, by the way, at 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. on both FM 104.5 and AM 950 KAHI.
And say that again.
Yes.
Say that again.
Hello! Yes, we'll tell you right now. FM 104.5, AM 950 KAHI, either one, 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. Our podcast is also 24 hours, audio streaming 24/7. So there's no excuse for not listening to the Pop Off Radio Show.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how did you get into radio, ma'am?
Oh my gosh, you really want to know the whole
Yes,
story?
please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
I started out actually in television. Going way back when, I was never going to be in radio or television. That's not how it all started. From 10 years old on, I was a singer and actress. And I traveled all over the country, even to the point of doing the Voice of America in Los Angeles. My descent is Romanian, and of course Romania was at that time behind the Iron Curtain. So they asked me to sing some Romanian songs. And I said, oh sure, no problem.
Now
Here I
you
am at
said
15.
you Descent was
Descent.
Descent. Okay,
Yeah.
so you are
My
originally...
grandparents were born in Romania.
Okay.
And so I speak Romanian, and I was singing the songs. And so they asked me to sing for the Voice of America as a representative in costume, the whole 9 yards. It was amazing. I was only like 15 years old, and on this huge stage singing to the world. It was wonderful. And I was hooked. I was hooked right there. And the rest of my life was going to be devoted to being with people and for people. When I was in college at Indiana University, I was working on my PhD.
Is that in Bloomington?
Yes, Bloomington,
Yeah,
Indiana.
okay.
Bobby Knight, the basketball, everybody knows that. Matter of fact, I interviewed him. Do you want to hear that story? And
Yes,
then I'll go back to
please.
the other, I promise. I was doing a television show in Indianapolis, and I was interviewed all kinds of people that would be coming through Indianapolis, Indiana, and I invited Bobby Knight at that time, who was a basketball coach at Indiana University, and I said, have him come down. Well, I wanted to shoot some footage with my team before we got on so we could see the practice times, etc. So, yeah, he said, no problem. So we were in with the practice. I had a cameraman and my producer, myself, and we were watching, and they were playing rotten. I mean, really blowing everything. It was just a practice, but he was getting so upset.
Did he throw a chair?
Oh, worse, he tried to throw me out.
Oh my.
Because he was blaming me that they were watching me instead of playing the game.
How old were you then?
I was, 21, 22.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
cute.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
really cute. But anyway, so I said, hey, I go, you're not going to get any footage. Oh, well, the team can stay, the cameraman can stay, but you have to go. Well, now you know my temper. I can get pretty angry if I want to. So I just got up and I said, hey, I go, my team goes, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't want you on my show. And so I left, I called the athletic director, and I really witched at him. I mean, with a B, I witched at him. And I said, this is ridiculous. I was at a practice to shoot some footage, so we have it for when we do our
And he
interview.
agreed.
And he agreed to it, and
Yeah.
that his players are rotten. It wasn't my fault. He's a bad coach. What can I say? So I didn't say anything else. He apologized, wrote me a letter, apologized, etc. And I was in the lobby of the television station at the time, and all of a sudden this door kind of opens up a little bit, and he sticks his head in, and he said, I'm so sorry for what I did. Can I come in, please? I said, you can come in, but I'm still not going to have you on my show. And so he came in and he said, I'm so
Neener,
sorry.
neener.
I got, my show, I can decide who's on. And he said, well, I got so upset because the guys were playing bad. I said, what are you blaming me and my team for? We were very quiet. We didn't, cause any problems or anything. He said, I do apologize and I'd love to be on the show. Well, you know me, I got a good heart. So I said, okay, you could be on the show. And we got to be friends after that.
Oh,
It was so
good.
nice. Now, going back to the beginning, after I was singing, about 15 years old, Voice of America, I go to college, Indiana University. I was an opera major. And so I was doing a lot of singing.
Mary Jane Popp was an opera major.
Oh, yeah. I used to sing opera all the
Wow.
time.
Wow.
And I was doing a lot of musicals and acting. And if you know Robert Klein, who's a pretty famous actor,
Yes.
he and I were in one of the plays together.
Oh,
It was
cool.
really cool. I had a date with a young man, and he was didn't have the money to buy things for the ball that we were going to. And flowers were expensive. When you're in college, you're spending a lot of money on college.
Yeah.
You can't afford beautiful flowers for a girl that you're going with. So I heard that they were letting people do weather on the local television station. It was WTTV, Channel 4. And then if you did it, they would give you a certificate to get a flower at the florist. And I'm going, okay, this is cool. I don't have to ask Steve to buy the flowers for me. So I did that, didn't think anything of it, got the flowers, did the ball, kept going. All of a sudden I got a call from one of my teachers. At that time, I was working on my PhD and also an
PhD in what? Opera.
Telecommunications. No, my bachelor's was in opera with a speech and theater minor. My master's was a theater major with a speech and voice minor. And then I went into telecommunications because I wanted to have all of the...
So you have a BA, an MA, and an MA.
Yeah, and then also about 47 hours toward a PhD. I didn't finish the PhD because I thought it had to be all written. That's not me. I'm a mouth. I got to be talking to people.
I'm a
and
mouth. Okay.
I got to be talking to people, and that's what I wanted to do as far as my research. So anyway, very dear friend. He was one of my professors in theater. His name was Petronoff. And he called and he said, they're auditioning in Indianapolis for a television host for a new TV show that they wanted to do in the morning. And I said, yeah, but I've never done television talk before. He says, go try. What do you got to lose? Go try.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't have anybody to interview, and I had just come back from Romania with my mom and dad. And so I said, Mom, you come with me, because they were visiting. I said, you come with me and I'll interview you about Romania and all the sites that we had seen. So that was my audition to get the television show. Well, 8 weeks later, I got a call and they said, would you come in? We want to talk to you. And I thought, oh, well, they probably narrowed it down. I got in and he said, well, would you like to do the show? And I said, oh, yeah.
Oh, all right, sure.
Okay, yeah,
Sure.
I don't mind doing a show. And he said, I said, well, what else do I have to do? And he said, well, you also have to produce it. I said, well, what the heck is that? I didn't even know about producing a television show. I'd been always the one interviewed or singing and that type of thing. So I said, okay.
That means finding your own guests.
Oh, you find the guest, you
Yeah.
do the schedule, you tell the director what you want done, you do the visuals, all that kind of stuff. I said, other than sweeping the floors,
Phil, did you hear that? You tell the director what you want done.
Oh, well, you give them a schedule. I mean, you have to give them a running schedule as to what
Yeah.
you're going to do, when the segments will be in and out, who you're going to have, and I used to have at least 2 or 3 guests on. So in 2 weeks, I had to learn how to put a show on the air. Suffice to say.
And you learned.
I learned fast. I learned really fast.
You learned what was entertaining and
what was fun. And at that time, it was kind of, the beginning. We're talking 1974. And at that time, women were just doing, homey shows and that type of thing. Well, I got bored out of my skull. But we used to do fun things. I used to do all the kind of crazy things so that I would not get bored. And so one time we had,
if
Johnson
you didn't
and Johnson.
get bored, the audience wouldn't get bored.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's entertainment. It can be infotainment, but it has to be entertaining too. So Johnson & Johnson was sending a lady around to do going fishing with your husband so that you have things to do together. And I thought, what the heck, bring her on, we'll have something to do. Well, I had a pretty cool producer, and he said, you know what, let's do something fun. And I said, well, what do you want to do? He said, we'll set up the sawhorses, and we'll put a metal boat, and then we'll do the green screen behind you and put a lake.
Okay.
And I said, fun, that'd be good. And we'll do the interview in the boat. And they set up all the lighting and everything. It was so cool. And my producer, again, and this is a really neat guy. We got to be such good friends. He said, I think I got to have an idea. So we're sitting in the boat, and we're talking, and he was on the floor with a bucket of water, and he would splash the water into the boat like we were on a lake, right? Well, that was cool. Except we had a Klieg light, and Phil would know what this is, a big Klieg light in the boat, so we were lit properly.
Yeah.
He hit the light,
Oh.
and it blew up.
Yeah.
Now, this was behind my guest. She thought she got shot. I mean, she was just froze, nothing. She couldn't say another word. And so we had 2 minutes to go on the air. Well, I ain't going to stop and say, oh my God. So, and by then, it was catching on fire.
Oh dear.
And I'm going, I got 2 minutes, I got to fill 2 minutes. So I looked at the camera and I kept talking about all these things that we just discussed. And I got done with it and I jumped out of the boat like crazy. I was just, that was my really beginnings of knowing what radio and television was all about. One time the whole set fell in and we were live on the air.
Wow.
So, and the lights went out. So I just kept talking. I thought, oh, this is radio, I guess. We're just talking. But I learned so much because it was a live show.
That's
no video, no film.
Right.
It was live. So whatever happened.
Yeah.
You got to deal with it. That was a great experience for me, that 4 years.
Good.
Eventually came out to then California. Go ahead, ask us. You got to stop me.
I'm stopping
I can
you.
keep
I'm
going.
stopping you now. I'd like you to know how you got into at KAHI.
Let me talk about radio please, first. Because when I came to Sacramento...
please, talk to me about radio.
Oh, I will. Well, that's what I'm going to talk to you about.
Okay.
Hold on now,
Right.
Susan. I've got the skinny for you, okay? When I first came to Sacramento, it was a long story. My husband shot some film out there, and I came out. I said, I really like this city. It's sort of like Indianapolis. You could put Sacramento into Indianapolis and never know the difference.
Sure.
Really. It's a Midwest town. And I loved it. And so we moved out here. I had a job. I was going to have a job at a television station. Well, by the time I moved out here, the program director got fired. So that television show went down the drain. And I said, what do I do now? So Dorothy Brandt had a television magazine that she would have in all the hotels, etc. So I started writing for her because I figured I could learn so much about the geography of the area, the people in the area. So I wrote for her for a couple of months. Then I went to a radio station, I should say, and somebody said, go to this radio station. They're looking for an afternoon news person. I thought, if I can do talk, I can do news.
Sure.
Okay? So I got the job. and had a wonderful, wonderful man there who had been with radio and television both in Los Angeles. He was like a second father in the business to me. And he taught me how to, edit news and how to put it all together, which I hadn't done. I was doing talk shows. Mm-hmm. And so it came time when there was an opening it was KCRA Radio. And because they had radio and television at that time. And he said, go audition for the show. And I said, well, okay, for being a reporter and a news person. So I go, they offered me the job. And I said, okay. I went back to him and I found out that he had cancer of the throat. And I didn't want to leave him because he didn't want to have the surgery. And I thought, well, if I stay on here, I can always get another job over there some other time. But if I stay here, maybe I can talk him into it. This was the kind of man he was. He said, you're fired. He said, it's time for you to move on. You've got to go to the other station. At that time, that was the #1 news and talk station in Sacramento. Yeah. So I went there. I was called the roving redhead on the run in the morning. I was downtown at that time, and, we're talking 79, 80. We're talking the people who had the bags in their hand with the booze inside, downtown Sacramento. And I learned how to go out down there and be nice to them. And I used to buy donuts for the sheriff's department and go down there. And then if I gave them donuts, they looked for all the reports that I could talk to you about.
Now, I have a question to ask you.
Yeah.
Several, actually.
Okay.
What's your favorite... this is an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it of you anyway. What's your favorite part of this kind of thing?
You mean talk radio?
Talk radio.
Talk radio is because it's one-on-one, it's immediate. Television's easier because you have the person's face and body language, etc. Or you have video to back up or things to play with. Radio, you don't. It's all voice.
Yes.
And so it's the inflection.
That's what I've recognized with you when I've been on with the radio with you. And when I've heard you before I go into the studio with you. You are talking to one person.
Yeah, because it's and the other thing too is that don't lie on radio. Because they'll recognize it, people. And I'm saying the listeners recognize it. They can tell when you're not telling the truth. They can tell when you're trying to, put something over on them because it's all your voice. It's the inflection. It's the excitement of being on radio and with people. That's what drew me to radio. And that's the reason I stayed in radio. Now, I went back and forth to television. I did a television show at Channel 3 for a while. That's KCRA. Yeah. And I did a show at Channel 10 for a while.
This is all in Sacramento?
Yes, all in Sacramento. Yeah. So I was back and forth. I was doing radio and television both. As far as getting to KAHI, that was an interesting story because I knew Jerry Henry. And we were talking one day, and he said, well, would you like to do a talk show at KAHI? And I said, oh, sure. So I went up there. I was there 2 years. And then I went back to Sacramento because it was KSAC and I had a better time slot, to be honest with you, better time slot. So I went back to Sacramento. And then that station was going in a direction that I was not real happy. I did KFBK, by the way, in between these other stations. And it got to be too corporate. It was... You were going to be a clone of everybody else. I can't be a clone. I am who I am. You like me or you don't like me, but I'm not going to be a clone. And so, and the sales department would come over and say, well, you can't talk about that because, we have a sales thing. I said, get out of here. Yeah. I used to lock the studio at KFBK. So you can't come in. I'm a talk show host. You go to your side of the building and do what you need to do. So anyway, as a result of that, then Jerry said, hey, would you like to come back to KAHI? And I said, yeah, because I said, now let me ask you though, what are my restrictions? I mean, what can I do or not do? He said, you can do anything you want. You've had the experience. You do your job. He said, just don't get me sued. And I said, good, I can do that. I've been in this business for a long time, and I haven't gotten anybody sued, so I'm okay. Although sometime I have to come back and I can tell you stories where it came close.
Oh my, yeah.
Very close, because of somebody that I had on the air, and they disagreed the way I treated the person on the air. I've treated everybody equally. I go after everybody. I have the left and the right, and I've always been, I feel, a success to me if I have somebody from the left on and I get calls from people saying, how dare you, the way you treated that person, and then I have somebody from the right, and then the left people call me and say you did something wrong. Yeah. I'm doing my job.
Right.
That's what I have.
And if everybody is complaining, or no, if everybody says this is you're too liberal or you're too conservative, then you're doing it right.
And I'm an independent, so I don't care.
Yes.
It's like, that's the way it is. Bottom line, I am an independent. I love talking to both sides. I want to learn, and I want my listeners to have all this good information too. Now, do you want me to go back more about radio, or do you want to ask me a question? You can ask me a question.
Well, yes, I know. I know.
It's your show, Susan.
You also write for several newspapers.
Yeah, it's Messenger Publishing, so it's 7 newspapers, and it's a pop-off column. I call it Pop-Off, just like my show called Pop-Off. And I pick people that I have on the air from all walks of life. I mean, I've interviewed John Wooden, Art Linkletter. Matter of fact, one of my most fun interviews was when I was still doing television. I interviewed Rock Hudson.
Oh,
and I actually got a kiss from Rock Hudson.
Oh, my.
Although he was gay, but I didn't know that at the time.
Right,
you know,
right.
this is a long time ago. But it didn't matter. He was just the most charming, very sweet person. John Wooden was wonderful, the coach. You know, and I did that when he wrote his book. I've had all the way from the best celebrities to the people who are just out to try and help people. Dr. Earl Mindell, the Vitamin Guru Bible. I mean, these are the kinds of things I figure if I'm interested in it, I'm the ordinary person. I put myself in the place of my listener. And if I like it, your listener will probably like it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
And those are the questions I ask too. I don't get into the technical because then you lose the people. You know, I've had scientists and I said, "Stop it! You know, talk English."
Yeah.
You know?
Cut down on the number of syllables.
Simplify this whole thing so we can all
yeah.
understand.
Right. So you've talked to all these celebrities.
Yeah.
All these people elsewhere. And now you are in, and how long have you been in Auburn?
Oh, since 2007.
Okay. So that's...
Long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time for anybody on the air to be in one station,
Right.
believe me.
Right.
That's the
I
other thing
agree
you have
with
to
you.
learn about being radio and television. Gotta have a thick skin.
But do you ever feel that you're not where the action is?
No,
Why not?
I make the action. So why would I need to do it? I make my own action.
Yes.
I
What
don't
do you
have to
mean?
By having the people that I have on the air,
Okay.
by challenging the people that I have on the air. I had 2 gals on today, as a matter of fact. One was on the right, one was on the left. And they wrote a book called I Think You're Wrong, But I'm Listening. And so it was all about the political things. So we got into a lot of what President Trump is doing and what he's not doing, and what's happening with, you know, our society in general, and how we're so divided, etc. Those, I'll make the action. Doggone it, don't worry about that.
Okay. Yes. How do you find them?
Oh, they find me. After all the years that I've been on the air, I get 200 or more requests a week
Wow.
to be on the show. So I pick what I think are the best and brightest, and the ones that I think people will be interested in. And I try and do a diverse show. I don't like if I just business or just politics or just health or what. I want to do it all. I'm a nosy person, Susan. I have an insatiable curiosity.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That's.
How long do we have, Bill?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Okay.
Yes, we're doing just fine.
Yep.
What's another difficult question? But
There's no difficult
easy
questions.
for you to. Well, what I want to know is,
Yes.
do you want people who are seeing this to contact you?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Because I also do the noon news.
Yes.
And the noon news, as far as I'm concerned, is local. That needs to be local. Barry does the local news. Casey does the local sports. I do interviews with everybody like yourself.
Me, yes.
Any of the events that are going on. Yes, call the station. Just give us a call. It's easy. 530-885-5636. Call the station anytime. And that's FM 104.5 and AM 950 KAHI. And we're on both stations. We simulcast.
Yes.
So everything that's on one is on the other.
Yeah. That was exciting when you guys.
Oh,
went
it was.
to-
And
became an FM station.
Secret.
Also.
We may be adding another.
Really?
Yeah, shh, don't tell anybody.
Okay.
It's a secret.
Wow. So I'll write that down.
Yes.
Mary Jane says.
Yeah. Blame Mary Jane. Go ahead. I can handle it. I got big shoulders.
One of the things I love so much about being on the radio with you is that you are so receptive. You are so easy.
Bubbly?
Bubbly, yeah.
Excited? I'll tell you what.
Friendly.
When I walk into that door and I walk into that studio and in front of that microphone, whatever else happened to me that day, could be arguments, could be sick. I've had accidents on the way up. You put those aside. Nobody should hear about that. Sometimes I share it just for fun, but not fun an accident, but just for fun. But once you get on that microphone, I'm concentrating on my listeners. I'm concentrating on the people that I'm talking to. And yes, I talk to one person every
Yes, you
time.
do.
When I do, I've talked to people in the thousands in conventions and whatever. I'm only talking to one person.
Yeah.
And every person I know, when I was singing, Susan, I knew that I reached the people when I would see a tear on their cheek. Or they would, you could see that they were feeling what I was talking about. That's what I want to do and move people every single day.
Yes, and you do. And I'm honored when I'm sitting there with you.
Oh, I love having you.
Good.
We have fun. And that's the other thing.
This is a mutual admiration society here.
You betcha. we have to believe in each other, and we have to get back to that in our country because we're so divided right now. I mean, we're either side is right and the other person's wrong, just like those two ladies I talked to today. And it's wrong to do that.
Right.
I want to listen to everybody. I watch all the networks. I listen to lots of radio shows. I don't want to be into one little globe. That's not what I am. I'm not in a fishbowl.
Okay.
We are a diverse society, and we should know all what's happening in our society.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me one good piece of advice for someone who's just starting out in broadcasting.
Two things. One, have a thick skin, because you're going to be going from station to station, and don't let somebody put you down just because you're not accepted. I don't care if you're in theater or movies. I've done a couple of movies myself. If somebody turns you down, it's not you. You have to believe in yourself and believe in what you're doing. You also have to have the passion. Look for the best and the brightest. Always be on the air, and that day is the most important day for you when you get on the air. And get any place that you can to do whatever you can. Carry coffee. Get on the air in a small station. You've got to work your way up. Don't think you're going to walk into a station and be a star. Every overnight success that I've talked to has taken 20 years to get there.
Yeah.
We all do.
Okay. So believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
So you have another thing.
What?
Another.
I did. Thick skin.
Thick skin. Believe in yourself and have thick skin.
Yes.
Oh,
and
my.
Keep going. Don't let anybody tell you can't.
Okay. Mary Jane Popp, it has been just a kick talking.
We have 30 seconds? Phil, we have 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Again, Monday through Friday, Pop-Off Radio Show, 6 p.m., 10 p.m., podcast 24/7. And, of course, our audio streaming all over the world. And I do interview people from all over the world. I've just done one with London, Denmark, Sweden, and I get the best and brightest. That's what I'm looking for. And I love doing things in the new news, too.
Yes. And so...
Are we out of time?
The third one, be willing to promote yourself. Eager to promote yourself, which is
well, if you don't believe in yourself, who does?
Okay. Mary Jane Popp, thank you very much.
Well, invite me back. I just got started.
Yes, that's true. And thank you for watching.